Everyone. I am live. I'm live. This video, as you can see on the thumbnail, is about Cormani McClain moving on to Florida. I'm sure this is not news to anybody that's watching me right now, but I'm going to read an article that talks about it. And if I can recall back, I remember the other articles that I read that were talking about Cormani McClain. Remember, it said schools are reluctant to give him a chance. Remember, the narrative was that essentially no schools wanted him because of his, I guess his immaturity and his lack of discipline and character issues or whatever they were trying to paint. And I told you guys specifically, I say, don't let that be the narrative. It's not true. Um, you can't judge a 19, 20-year-old who hasn't had his brain developed. The frontal lobe of his brain is not developed yet. So yes, all 18, 19, 20-year-olds need to mature. That's a nonsensical statement to make. However, when they were making it, they made it seem like he's the only one that's like that. Like he's a special type of student athlete that has special problems. Well, if you look at the dichotomy of football program, Coach Prime, a Coach Prime led football program, and you look at Cormani, you have two operating components: football program led by Coach Prime and Cormani. Two that are very, very untraditional. They are not prosaic. They're not the norm, right? So then you bring a kid who is coming into a program that's ran more like a reality show in a circus. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has their own brand. Some programs, not all programs are created equal. And this is not a dig on Coach Prime, but when I say circus, I don't want you guys to take it as a negative thing or insert in it some sort of negative connotation as if I'm bashing Prime. I'm not. When I say circus, it means that when I go to a circus, I'm going to be entertained. So the football program is an entertainment business. Now you may say well, all sports are entertainment. Yes, the product that's put out on the field is the entertainment. The cameras are on then. Lights, camera, action, boom. The game is played on game day. What I see going on with Coach Prime in Colorado is just too much cameras, too much stories, too much talking by Shador, too much. It's just too much. It's overkill. And you're asking a 19-year-old to come into that environment and you're asking him to mature, but your program is not ran like a traditional program that's mature. So there's immaturity on both sides. I'm not saying Coach Prime is immature. What I'm saying is that the way he's running his program is not conducive for an immature kid coming out of high school to come in and develop. Development comes in multiple facets. It's not just development of your skill. It's a development of your character. It's a development of your habits. And when you're coming into a program that's flash, 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 some substance here or there, great rah-rah motivational speeches, but when the rah-rah motivational speeches are not aligning to the behavioral practices that you see, like the things that you see in practical real time, then it becomes a problem because then there's a misalignment there. So it's sort of like the parent that's talking about don't do drugs, stay in school, get your education. But then the parent that's saying that is doing drugs, didn't finish school, and everything that they're telling you, they did the opposite. And they're doing the opposite as they're telling you this. Now, you may say, well, some parents are learning from their mistakes. They want their kids to be better. I understand that. But in terms of this specific comparison that I'm trying to make, what I'm trying to make here is saying that you're asking Cormani to come in to be fully mature, to do this, to do that, but yet your program is not ran traditionally in a way that's conducive to maturing young men. So I just think that it's not fair to put that type of weight on Cormani. But then again, let's talk about those narratives. Remember those narratives? He's not going to. There's no schools that want him. Schools are reluctant to get him. He may not even get an offer. That's the way the narrative was being. I mean, from the looks of it, I read multiple articles, and they all felt, to me, in my personal opinion, the way I took it is that they're stating that it's going to be difficult for schools to want him because of his past. Yet, an SEC school, Florida, great traditional football program, commits to Cormani and gives him a chance. So what does that say about those narratives that are being written. You can't buy that. That's what they want you to believe. He didn't work out with Prime. So if he doesn't work out with Prime, he's not going to work out anywhere else, because we understand Prime is the standard. No, Prime is not the standard. Prime is a non-traditional standard coach that does not run his program in a traditional format. It's a father and son operation. It's daddy ball. And again, that's my opinion. It's nothing wrong with daddy ball. If that's what you want to do, that's your brand, do that. But it comes with certain effects and certain consequences. All right. So I'm about 5 minutes in. I'm about to read this article about Cormani here, and I'm going to share my screen. I just wanted to look at what they're saying about to your emotions. It's not tugging at your heartstrings. It's just generic. This is what true journalism is about in terms of the title. Cormani McClain moving on to Florida. Not Cormani McClain's and blah, 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 moving on to Florida. They're not trying to infuse any terms to move you emotionally. And as a critical thinker, you're supposed to just look at something as dry as it is and formulate your own opinion. So when I look at this, it's just plain as day. Okay, he's moving on. So there's nothing biased about this article at all. I mean, in terms of the title. Okay, now I'm going to read the article. All right. It's a short article, so we're not going to be long here. All right. It says Cormani McClain transfer from Colorado to Florida marks a significant loss for the Buffaloes. Significant loss for the Buffaloes. Okay. One could argue that that's an opinion, because some people think that he was no good. Some people think that he was washed or he was overhyped. But I don't think that you become a number one in your recruiting class if you're trash. I just feel like it just didn't work out there. Sometimes players need a change of scenery. And I think that what's going to happen, in my opinion, I could be wrong. I think that when he goes to Florida and starts to play well, then we can actually say without equivocation that it was or it is a significant loss for the Buffaloes. All right, reading along here. The highly touted cornerback, initially committed to Miami, is now set to join the Gators in Gainesville. McClain's decision to transfer back to his home state suggests a desire for a more competitive environment and a chance to be closer to family. All that matters. Being close to your family, being in an area that you're familiar with. I mean, from going from the South all the way to Colorado, that's more like Midwest, kind of like north. The weather's much colder in Colorado. I mean, sometimes people just need to be home. They need to be in a state or in a setting of familiarity for them to actually thrive and reach their highest potential. All right, his departure comes amidst comments hinting at dissatisfaction with Colorado's program, expressing a desire to avoid playing solely for attention. Again, people keep talking about his immaturity. I think, and I said this before on a past video, I said that him making that statement saying that I want to play and develop, I don't want to play for clicks, that's a statement of a young student athlete that's progressively maturing into the man that he needs to be. It's just that people can stand it because people are so religiously blinded by, I don't know, by the magnetic nature of Coach Prime, that it's like, how dare you say that about Coach Prime's program? It was a mutual relationship. I don't think Coach Prime and Colorado were satisfied with him, and he wasn't satisfied with Colorado and Coach Prime either. So it was a mutual, consensual, emotional feelings from both sides. I don't think that it was, oh, Colorado loves Cormani and Cormani doesn't like Colorado. I think it was both. Coach Prime wasn't satisfied with his efforts, and Cormani was also equally disappointed in whatever expectations he had before he committed to Colorado. So when he makes a statement that he wants to transfer, hinting at the fact that he wants to find a program that'll challenge and develop him, I would argue and say that's a part of development. That's a part of maturity. But people took it as, oh, he's taking a dig. See, when you make it personal, rather than you have to look at everything from a cerebral perspective. If you're too personal and honed in, emotionally attached to Prime and what he's doing in Colorado, you're going to fail at seeing things from a different perspective that may induce a bit more nuance in your thinking. See, I'm not invested as emotionally as many people are. I'm just on the outside looking in. I want to see how this is going to turn out. I don't lose sleep at night if Colorado loses a football game or wins. I just want to see how this is going to work out. I'm an onlooker, have like my binoculars from afar, and I'm just watching. All right. So when this statement is written here that his departure comes amidst comments hinting at dissatisfaction with Colorado's program. Colorado were also equally dissatisfied with Cormani, so it's mutual. There's nothing disrespectful there. Sometimes you don't work out where you're supposed to be. Sometimes you just have to depart and go your separate ways, and that's exactly what's happening here. So Colorado's program, he expressing a desire to avoid playing solely for attention. Deion Sanders commented on McClain's transfer, hinted at the need for McClain to find a program that would challenge and develop him effectively. Now, that's what he did. That's what Cormani did. He didn't say what you wanted him to say. Many of you prime supporters and blind supporters that fail to think objectively. Like I said, I didn't see anything wrong that now the timing of the video, I think that he should have picked a better time to make a video like that was going to go mainstream. That wasn't the right time. It was too soon. You hadn't even found a team yet, Cormani. I thought it'd be best for you to find a team first, perhaps play a whole year, show out on the football field, and then you can make a comment like that. But in terms of the content of what he said, there was nothing wrong. So when Deion Sanders here he says his departure comes amidst comments hitting at dissatisfaction with Colorado's program, expressing a desire to avoid playing solely for attention. Deion Sanders, when a kid says, I don't want to play for attention, that's maturity to me. Then Deion Sanders says, commenting on McClain's transfer, hinted that he needed for McClain to find a program that could challenge and develop him effectively. So they're saying the same thing, okay? Prime is saying he needs to go to a place that can develop him. Cormani is saying, I want to go to a place to be developed. They're saying the same thing. So when Cormani says it, we shouldn't throw stones at Cormani when he says it. And then when Coach Prime says it, it's okay when Coach Prime, they're saying the same thing. It's just the fact that Cormani did not work out with Coach Prime in Colorado. But Colorado and Coach Prime Coach Prime sees that Cormani needs to go to a place to be developed. Because obviously it wasn't being developed with you, Coach Prime. Whether that's on Prime or whether that's on Cormani, that could be debatable. But the point is, in terms of what's being said, they're saying the same thing. They're saying the same exact thing. All right, moving along here. Colorado football season, while starting with promise, ended in disappointment, perhaps contributing to McClain's decision. I don't think that contributed to his decision. We all knew that it was kind of a rebuild. You don't come in as a first-year coach. I don't care how much Louis luggage you bring over. You're not going to come in there going from 1-11 to all of a sudden being 11-1 or being 12-0. That would be unrealistic. It was great for them to start off as fast as they did, but it was fool's gold to me because you can see that teams were starting to learn some of their tendencies, and they became too predictable. It became, let's just have an air raid kind of offense and just throw the ball on every possession. And then if it doesn't work out, we just blame it on the offensive line. They became too predictable. All right. And I don't think that's why he left. I just think we should just take Cormani's word for it. Shall we? Shall we just say he just wants to go to a program where he's developed? He understands he was a freshman. He understands. I'm sure he knew maybe he may not get as much time on the field as he would want. And I'm sure he's done things to hinder his ability to be on the field, doing the immature things that he did. Okay, but that's the past. He's moving on. But I don't think if that's the case, Travis Hunter would have left, and other players would have left too because they had a disappointing season. No, I don't think that played a role in it. And it's not like he's going to he is going to a traditional football program that has good history, Florida. But in terms of their recent success, they didn't have success last year. Florida's season was probably average, sub-average last year. It wasn't like he's going to a team that national championship last year. And it's not even guaranteed that Cormani is going to start. He still has to work hard. So he's not going to a place where, it's going to be an easy place for me to play. He wants to be challenged. He wants to compete. He wants to be developed. He wants to go to a traditional program that's all about football. not all about the extracurriculars and the ancillary stuff that's going around the football team. I'm telling you, when you go online and type in Colorado Buffaloes, it's like a soap opera. It's just drama. It's just too much. It's too much. And too much of a good thing could be bad. It's a good thing to have the father and son dynamic at Colorado and seeing what Coach Prime can do at Boulder. But at the same time, we have to make sure that the information that's put out is done so systematically, and there's a sort of a method to the emission of the information that you're putting out. But when there's information everywhere, then it's just overload, and sometimes players can't handle that. All right, it's like Hollywood down there. It's just too much cameras, in my opinion. All right, reading along here, it says, as the team transitions to the Big 12 conference, McClain's departure underscores the challenges facing the Buffaloes in a changing college landscape. For McClain, down here, the move represents an opportunity for growth and a fresh start in a familiar territory, which is what I said earlier. Going to a place that he's familiar with is a fresh start. While for Colorado, it's a setback that highlights the need for program improvement. Wow. Wow. This is an objective article. I mean, we all need to improve. Just because somebody says that the program needs to improve doesn't mean it's a dig at Coach Prime. All programs need to improve. If every program is being honest with themselves, we always need to reflect back at our practices. Everything that happens on the football field, or everything that happens in the locker room, or things that happen with players, whether players are leaving or players are coming in, those are all methods of feedback that we're supposed to use in a way to actually improve upon our practices. We always ask ourselves, what can we do better? When you see players leaving, a 5-star recruit that committed to you to come into your university from Florida, and then he leaves, you have to kind of look at your practices. But will you? Or will you just say, oh, they're haters? They're haters. So this is a great article. I like it. Because it's saying that it's a setback. It's always a setback when you lose a talented player. It's always a setback. I'm not saying that, oh, the team was going to go 12-0 because McClain was there. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that when you have young talent with great potential and they're not developed, and then they leave saying that they want to be developed. Let's say he goes to Florida and then ends up being developed there. If he ends up being developed there, then you lost an asset. You lost a significant piece of the puzzle that you're trying to build at Colorado. You're already not getting a lot of recruits. What you're getting is a bunch of transfers through the NIL, through the portal. All right? You're getting a lot of transfers through that avenue, but that's not building a team from the ground up. That's more like trying to build a team just amassing talent from other universities of players that want to transfer. And most of these players that are transferring, obviously, either they weren't getting playing time at their schools, that are probably, lower tier on the pecking order. They probably felt like, I'm not going to play that much here, so let me go to a place that I can get my shine and get some recognition and get some cameras on me and show what I can do. So, I mean, yeah, it's a setback that highlights the need for program improvement. Okay. All right. So tell me what you guys think. I mean, do you think that this move to Colorado, this move for Cormani leaving Colorado to go to Florida, do you think that this is a good move for him? Do you think that he'll do well there? And how do you think he'll play there? Do you think he'll play better there than he did at Colorado? And then again, who do you think is going to have a better football record? If you look at their schedules, I may do a comparison. If you look at Florida's schedule next year, and we look at Colorado's football schedule next year, who do you think is going to have a better record in the long haul? All right. So thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think. And I'll be bringing you guys another video at another time. All right. Thank you.